All right, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to season 3, episode 1 in 2022 to the Stay Strong, Stay You podcast. Now also up on YouTube. We leveling it up this year. What's going on, Monica?
What up, what up, what up? It's your girl, Monica Macias, co-host of the Stay Strong, Stay You podcast.
Heck yeah, you are. Yo, I'm already pumped because we can actually see each other now doing a podcast versus last time. For those of you who don't know, we were literally like, I text over Monica a Zoom link, or not a Zoom link, a link to Anchor, and then like, there's this whole thing. But now we can see each other. I love it. I think incredible things are coming for 2022 for the Stay Strong, Stay You podcast. I know we have some guest speakers we're going to be inviting, and you never know where Monica and I may be taking the whole podcast, but I know the Stay Strong, Stay You community is going to be growing. How about you, Monica?
I'm super excited to see what Stay Strong, Stay You. One of the things that we've talked about is being able to provide even some one-on-one with people from our community who need just that one-on-one assistance. So it's definitely something that we're thinking about doing and collaborating with Stay Strong, Stay You, and being able to coach and really just bring people to becoming the best version of themselves, being confident in who they are, accepting themselves for who they are, and then just finding different strategies and methods for self-care and self-love. Those are some of the really most important things that are dear to our hearts in the Stay Strong, Stay You community. But one of the biggest things that you and I have always talked about is mental health and why our mental health is so important. So that's definitely one of the biggest things that we want to focus on. We focused on it in season 2. You focused on it in season 1. So I'm really, really excited. Like you said, we're going to bring on some special guests. They're going to have a lot of input. They've all experienced a lot of different events, life events in their lives, but a lot of the ways and strategies that they use to function and to get through their traumas are a lot of the same ones that we had to utilize. So I'm super excited about what Stay Strong, Stay You is going to bring in 2022.
This is just the beginning, and I know this. Like, I'm just pumped about this small, tiny action, and the small actions that you create a bigger change. Like we're always talking about that, and that's why I always say celebrate the small wins. Just the fact that Monica and I are here right now, starting something new where we can see each other through Zoom, that's going to go onto a podcast, that's going to go onto YouTube, is so exciting. And the small changes that we're going to continuously create is going to make this community even bigger and stronger. But that's why I always say celebrate your small wins, because you have to learn to enjoy the process, and part of the enjoying the process is celebrating those small wins.
Yes. And this is actually a big win for us. Starting YouTube. I mean, it's just going to be a different dynamic. I really do hope that people will see in our faces and not just hearing our voices, that they get a different impact. They can actually see our reactions and actually see us firsthand how we communicate. We've done plenty of FaceTimes and Zooms together, but never that were ever recorded. So, we started off with the audio, did the whole season 2 podcast, but season 3 is going to just really be different. And especially having our new YouTube channel, I think you're going to bring some content. I'm going to bring some content, and definitely just be out here to help people.
Absolutely. So let's jump into it. A lot of people, in 2022, they talk about goals. Everybody freaking talk about goals. And, I get it. You and I have talked a lot about our goals, our visions, our dreams, and all of that. But when you're at the bottom and you're wanting to make a change, you don't necessarily know how to make that change. And for me, I remember being there in 2020, being sick and tired of who I was, being sick and tired of, depending on the outside world for my happiness. And I remember walking into the gym previously being like, I don't even know what my goal is. I just want to be happy. I just want to have confidence. Like, I don't even know. And I had to recognize that it was more of a lifestyle change that I had to create versus a goal, because I hit my goal of losing X amount of pounds pretty quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to recognize, like, now what am I do? See, it came down to that lifestyle change, but also having a strong enough why to keep me going. And my why was I wanted that self-confidence. I wanted that happiness. And I had to recognize that happiness is a freaking inside job. Like, I have to be able to make me happy. I have to be able to laugh with myself. And I've been doing that throughout my whole life, but I didn't have the self-confidence to go along with it. And I feel like those two really go well together. But how about for you? Are you more of a goal person? I mean, I know you have goals, and we're gonna hit those goals. We're gonna crush those goals this year. But what was the change for you? Because like we've all also said, just because the calendar changed, some people's life hasn't begun to change. You don't
Right.
need a new year to start a new year. You need a new moment. So what would you say to that person that wants to
That's
start that
it.
new moment?
I mean, what I would say is basically, just based off of what I went through and what I did. So, my change really started the beginning of 2021. So the first few months, I literally had no idea who I was, what I liked, what made me happy. I literally have been doing something for someone else since I was 19 years old. And so when the moment came where I was now by myself, I didn't know who I was. Like, what do I do? I asked myself, like, what do I do? I went to the grocery store for the first time and I had no idea what to buy. Like, what are the things that I liked? What were the things that I needed? And so, what I realized was, okay, this is the time. Like, now is the time. Here's your chance, your opportunity to focus on you. Here's your time in your life. It took me 40 years to get here to realize that you now get the opportunity to focus on you. Right. So I went hard, especially knowing me, Becca, to see where I started, to see where I ended in 2021. I went hard, like straight up, like dove into my Bible, straight up changed my mindset and just focused on what was going to make me happy. And at first, and one of the things that you brought up earlier was your why. So, of course, my entire life was revolved around my children, my children, my children, my children. Anything that my children needed, I'd sacrifice whatever I needed for my children's needs, all of those things. And halfway through my journey of my healing and my transformation, I realized that my why was me. My why had to be me. And it created a ripple effect, because if I was happy inside and out, then that would ripple into my children's lives and they would be even happier than they were. Because I was the kind of, I am the kind of parent where if I have issues, if I have problems, my children are the last ones to know what those problems are. you know of course, my daughter is now 21. I talk to her differently because I don't want her to experience the same things I experienced. So there came a point where I actually started to share with her, whereas now I'm completely open with her because there were some traumas that I hadn't dealt with for over 20 years. And so once I was able to deal with those, through those, and able to talk to her about those, it changed the dynamic of our relationship. you know
Mm-hmm.
she knows that I will always be her best friend, but I'm her mother first. you
Yep.
know so once I realized what my why was and I started to focus on me, I went hard. 2021 was freaking amazing. And so when it came to figuring out what I wanted to get done in 2022, it wasn't just go hard, it was go harder. Go harder. Focus on the things that are going to make you happy and go harder. And so that's really my weight loss. I mean, I've lost 40 pounds in 2021. I'm so ready, so hyped. So, as I did my weight loss journal for the year. And as I was creating my weight loss journal, of course, my goal was 175, right? My goal weight is 175. And I've had 175 in my head all of 2021. And as I'm doing my journal, I said, you know what? An extra 15 pounds isn't going to be that hard. So I made 160 my goal, 160. I may or may not get there, but the bigger my goal is, the more I'm going to fight for it.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's just one of my goals, but I'm super, super excited because Corona, me and my homegirl Corona, we brought it in together, the new year together. But, you may have taken me down for a good 7 to 8 days, but I'm ready. So, here we are. We're in January. Let's do this.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, one of the things I love that you said was that for so long your why was your children. And I think that is incredibly important to kind of have both, because I loved what you said is it's a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
For me, so long my why was my niece, and she still is. She really came along when I needed her. My sister called me that she was pregnant in a time when I didn't know how to continue on in life. And I recognize that I want to be a great individual for her, but how can I be a great individual for her if I can't be a great individual for me? And within that, I had to learn this lifestyle change of body, mind, and soul, because there's days that you don't want to get up. There's days that you question everything, even when you have as much self-confidence that I have and self-worth and all of that. There's still days that, we question it. And it's creating these standards and rituals for your life that will continuously get you to show up. And I'm not saying that you won't get off track, because listen, homegirl over here be getting back on track with some things. Fell off a little bit, but that's okay. That's sometimes what the holidays does. That's what life does. And you have to learn to get yourself back out. And for me, that comes down to, what's my routine? What is the best routine that works for me? Previously it's been get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, workout, personal development, all of this stuff before I go to work. These past couple weeks, I've needed to readjust my routine, and I've needed to sleep in a little bit later, go to work, work out after work. And that's why I love the quote, hear all the ingredients within other people's lives and create your own recipe, because your recipe is going to work for you, but it may not work for everybody else. And, your recipe at the same time, you may need to add a little extra dash of sleep. You may need to add a little dash of ice cream for your mental health. You may need to add a little dash of this, little dash of that, take away something. So hear other people's ingredients and create your own recipe.
Yeah. One of the things that you reminded me of when you said, of what you said was, when you talk about the different ingredients in your recipe,
yeah,
I'm a manager, and in my job, and so I have staff, and when we have responsibilities, like, this is your result. This is what I expect your result to be. How you get there is up to you, because I want it to be efficient for you. There are some things that have to go a certain way, but ultimately I want this result. So if it makes it easier for you to calculate things one way to get to this result, wonderful. If I need you to do it another way, or if it's easier for you to do it another way, perfect. Did I get the same result? I want people to actually find what is best for you, whether it's being like me, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get what I need to get done.
A little too early.
It used to be 4, y'all, but with the whole time change, my body just gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But
again, what works for you?
It's what works for me, because what I found in my lifestyle is that anything could happen throughout the day. And so if if I allowed for any of those things to ruin my day, then I wouldn't get the things I needed to get done. So I get up at 3 a.m. and I focus on the things that I absolutely want to get done. What's important to me in my life at the moment? It's exercise. It's me reading my Bible. It's me being in prayer. And if I have the opportunity to read at that time, then I'll get my reading in. If not, I make sure that I find time to read at least 15 minutes a day into my any personal development book, whether it's Christian personal development or just regular personal development. But those are things that I make sure I get done on a daily basis, because it's keeping me grounded and it's keeping me focused that regardless of what happens throughout the day, I have already achieved 90% of my goals for the day.
Yes. And it takes me back. I love everything you said. And it brings me back to that one practical thing that I started out with, making my bed. Because let's face it, you may not be happy wanting to do it in the morning, but when you get home from a long day, when everything went wrong, you come home to a nice made bed. Holy macaroni. It turned your day all around and you're saying, thank goodness I made my freaking bed. And you can look back on your day and say, I started strong. I may not be ending strong, but I started strong.
And some people don't understand how one small change could change your entire day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if you're the kind of person who has a habit to get back into bed after you've gotten up. If your bed is made, you're less likely to jump back into bed.
That's why I started, because that's what I would do. I would get out of bed, I'd turn off the alarm clock or hit snooze, I'd get back in, I'd get back up. Like I'd do it multiple times, you know? And I was like, no, I'm sick and tired of this. Like I have to get up and pour into myself without getting back into bed. So making my bed became my visual reminder. It's no more sleep. We are up, we are going, we are moving. And then I began to slowly recognize, for me, you know, I used to get up and I used to slowly get into a routine, but I learned that slowly doesn't work too well for me. So for me, I actually have to get up, get dressed, eat breakfast, get out and get to the gym, because otherwise, I'm going to turn on a podcast. I'm going to be so fired up that I'm going to be starting creating and doing other things that I'm not going to gain enough energy, or I will eventually have to go to work on time. So for me, there's been little things throughout that, but you know, my brain just went somewhere else as I looked elsewhere. Got sidetracked.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are all different little morning routines that we've each talked about before in our podcast. And things have changed over time. You know what I mean? Because ultimately what it comes down to, some things will work for you and some things won't. It's being able to understand it. It's trial and error. That's exactly what it is. And when you figure out that it is working for you, then you keep it going. And if it's not working for you, then you change it up or do it at a different time or get rid of it altogether and try something different.
And you know when it's for you. Like, you know it's for you because it's working well for you, and you might not necessarily enjoy it, but you know that the benefit comes with it. For me, I don't like getting up early, but I know getting up and getting it done before my day starts is better benefit than getting off work and being like, oh, I'm tired, I'm drowsy, I want to go to bed, but I have to go to the gym because I didn't go in the morning. Like, no, get up, get it done, and you'll feel better. Get it over with. Then you don't even have to think about it throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, and that's one thing you're less likely of thinking about in a negative manner. Right. You know what I mean? Which is another thing that we talk about often. Do your very best not to have negative thoughts. And as soon as you have one, eliminate it right at the moment. Address it right at the moment. Like, nope, not thinking of it, moving on. Because one negative thought can ruin all the 50,000 positive thoughts you had about yourself or your day that day.
I feel like one of the one of the thoughts I hear a lot around this time is I have to go to the gym. I have to do this. Talking as it's like a punishment. Let me just guys this. Going to the gym, not a punishment. Going to the gym is a gift to remind you that you have the ability to move your body. And it is a gift that through moving your body, you become a greater version of yourself. When you move, you feel better. That doesn't have to also be going to the gym. That could be moving and getting outside. That could be moving and getting out of your bed, for the love of God.
Mm-hmm.
All you did was move and get out of your bed and change your environment in one way, shape, or form, and you feel better. I am like straight up proud of you. And sometimes it does take those small, very tiny steps going forward. But when you also change the I have to mindset to I get to do this. I get to go to the gym. I get to do X, Y, and Z. You begin to see everything in a whole new perspective. And that's what Monica and I want, is we want you to help switch that light of these drowning things that seem so overwhelming into, oh, I get to do this.
Right. I
get to do this. And like, I'll be honest, when I first started the podcast, like, I was like, I have to post another episode. And then it finally hit me. I get to do this. I started this. Not everybody can say they have a podcast, you know? So it's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and recognizing you get to, and it's a gift, because there's some people that are no longer here with us on earth that are wishing they could be in your shoes.
Right. Right. And of course, everything you just said just reminds me of gratitude.
Gratitude is the attitude.
Gratitude is the attitude. Why it's important to practice gratitude and appreciate the little things. So yeah, there might be somebody you work with that you don't get along with, or they seem to ruin your day. Turn that into a positive. Like, be thankful, that you have an opportunity to be able to have a relationship with someone who you might be able to impact in a positive way. Use that, to try to get you fueled up, to have them see where you are and why you're so positive and why you're so excited about life. Open up the door, ask people, just be kind, and a lot of times people, they won't receive it because they've never had to. Some people are so miserable, all they want to see is other people miserable. Don't let anyone who wants that lifestyle, who has that mentality, get you in that place. If you're a positive person, you want to be surrounded by positivity, you continue to be positive regardless of who you're around. There's some situations where, you can't do anything about somebody else not being positive or understanding why you're doing the things that you're doing for you, because it's not for them. What's for you is for you, and what's for them is for them. You get to decide whether or not you keep those people in your life to continue to have that toxicity in your life, regardless if they're family or if they're friends or who they are. Like, you have to learn to set boundaries and do all of those things to make sure that those people do not bring any of their negative energy into your life.
Facts. I did, this was reminding me how I did I did one of those, let the social media decide what your 2022 and what you should do in 2022. My 2022 social media told me that I should drop that toxic person. I was like, listen, social media, we let that stay in 2021. Like, we are no longer doing toxic people. We've moved on. I understand we'll have frustrating people, but we're not diving back into any more toxic, friendships or people that are pulling me down. And since then, I've gotten a lot of questions of like, how do I move on? It's hurtful to move on and everything. And this is something you guys need to realize. People are like waves. They are going to come and go like the ocean, and we cannot control that. The only thing that we can control is the boat that we are in. And we are the sailor to our ship, which is why we need to continue sailing forward. That way we don't sink.
Mm-hmm.
So let those toxic people freaking go. Let the negativity go. Move on and let the world respect your freaking greatness, the light within you. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Am I talking to myself right now?
No, but we tend to do that. But we definitely tend to do that, though. If you think about it, there's times where there's times where we gotta hype ourselves up. You know what I mean? Be honest, be true. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself what you really need to hear. Because there's times where I probably haven't. There was things like Becca, we fall off and we get back on, you know, but we have mental things that we also focus on. So we're not saying don't have a day to rest. Don't have it like if your body needs time, additional time to sleep, like it's not okay to sleep in. It is perfectly okay to sleep in, miss a day at the gym, you know, any of those kind of things. It's not going to ruin your progression. But one of the things that we have talked about is, okay, so you get your one day. Don't let it happen for two, because what ends up happening is you let it go for two, it's going to go for three, it's going to go for four, it'll go for five. I mean, if you're going to have your one day, give yourself the one day and get back on track. Because the longer you wait to get back on track, the harder it is to get back on track.
I also think that I live by that. And at the same time, I also do think it is important to recognize that there are seasons where you gotta take a week or whatever, you know, because there are those times. Like for me, you know, I started with that one day, and that one day did turn into multiple, but I also needed that. And I think that's okay if you recognize, like and I remember telling myself, like, I'm going to allow myself to get off track right now because I need it. I need a break. I'm mentally, this is where it goes back to all mental of like, I mentally needed rest. Physically, I could have gotten myself into the gym, but I just needed that rest. And I think it's then learning when and when not to call yourself out and give yourself that grace, but also that tough love.
Right.
Because yes, I know. And like for me, went to the gym. I was like, I will be back tomorrow because we're not going to start this, you know, getting back, but it's learning to coach yourself, you know? And the one way I've learned to coach myself is to write a letter to yourself with how that person would be in your shoes. What would you tell the person that's in your shoes to keep going? So I will literally write a letter to myself. And I've done this each week. And I'm going to continue doing it throughout the year. Every Sunday, I'm going to sit down and write a letter to myself of what I need to tell myself to do or what I did the previous week. And to start thinking like that. Start coaching yourself of what would X person tell me, or what would I tell somebody in their shoes? Because there's times I've been like, all right, I'm feeling really down about this, but what would Monica tell me? What would Monica tell me to do? Or what would other people in my life that I look up to tell me to do to get over this tough situation?
And I think a lot of that too is accountability. Not only do you hold yourself accountable, because when you don't hold yourself accountable and you don't achieve the things you told yourself you were going to get done, it's almost like you're lying to yourself. But having an accountability partner or multiple accountability partners, because you have different things going on in your life. And Becca's definitely one of my accountability partners. When I feel like I'm falling off, yeah, she's going to give me my little pat on the back. Oh, it's going to be okay. But guess what? We got to do this. Like, this is what we decided we've committed to. And I am a woman of my word. So if I commit to something, I stay on board until it doesn't go on anymore, because that's just one of my character traits. But And I think it's important that you make sure that you hold yourself accountable and that you have an accountability partner, someone who understands exactly what you're trying to achieve, your goals that you're trying to reach. Because when they understand where you're trying to go, they're going to be the ones pushing you and motivating you when you need it the most.
Guys. It's like these are the things that we get to add in because we have video now. All of our weird, silly faces that go along. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think it's just important to surround yourself around those people. And it can be hard to know where to start. And if you guys are looking for a community of people, that's one thing that Monica and I are hoping to really, really focus on this year, is really growing the Stay Strong, Stay You community, and probably have a Facebook group together and maybe a group chat and all of that. But we really do want to help you guys be surrounded around individuals that want to make a change, want to make a difference, and also just want to step out and, do some big and wild, crazy things. And you guys will hear more of what those things may be coming, giving some people some opportunities. But, overall, we just hope that you're able to make that change. And again, just because we are 9 days into 2022, I almost said 21, we're not repeating now. And that's the thing, we're not repeating. Don't repeat the same mistakes that you made in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some that I've already made in 2022, but you know what? That's where we say, you don't need a new year to start a new habit, a new goal, a new whatever it is. Start now. Yep. Start in this exact moment. So anything else you got to say, Monica?
One of the things that comes to mind too with all of that is remain authentic. Like, you're not the only one going through things. We go through things too. You're not the only one that has experienced trauma. We have too. And it's not that it goes away. It's just that we dealt with it. And there's times that we still have to deal with other issues that come from it, but be true to who you are. Like, don't be ashamed of it. And that's definitely one thing that for me, once I learned that something that I had done, a decision I had made 20 years ago, that I could talk about it and move on from it, how much that set me free. It was like a lift off my shoulders that I no longer had to hide. And that regardless of how anyone felt about the decision that I made, like, the decision was made. Like, it is what it is. It happened. I did it, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. And being able to just be able to help somebody is why I'm here. One of the things we've talked about as well is our God-given purpose. And my God-given purpose is to be able to just motivate, let somebody use their voice to motivate themselves into becoming the best version of themselves. And whatever it is that I have to do to be able to assist somebody to get to that point, I'll be here and support you. But it ultimately comes down to you and how bad you want it, because I can't do it for you. I can guide you, but you have to make the decision to say, enough is enough. It's time for me to do what I need to do to become the best version of myself.
Can't save somebody who doesn't want to be saved. No. Well, one of the downsides to this is that I don't know how to track time.
I know. Who knows how long we've been on air?
On the Anchor app, it used to tell us how long we are going for, and now I don't know. And I know we kind of want to keep these, to about an hour. I'm guessing we're kind of close to that mark, so wanting to wind on down, but definitely excited to be on this new journey with all the things that we're headed to. Extremely excited to level up and to move on and to prepare what we prayed for. So we are going to be doing just that and continuing to walk out on faith. So, all right.
Where the road leads us.
Yeah, you never know. Our eyes are open with whatever opportunity God wants to throw our way. So we will keep our eyes out as we are hoping to fly with the eagles. Fly like the eagles. Or fly, eagles, fly on the road to Vic. Sorry, I'm not a football fan, but I grew up in Philly, so
No, that's
every
right.
time I hear "Fly, Eagles, fly," gotta bring it home.
I see. I see.
Yeah, no, you and your Texas.
My team is not the best, I will say. They are not the best, and they're not going to make it to the playoffs this year, but it's okay. We'll try again next year. I'm a
Yep.
Houston girl through and through. I will always support my Houston teams, regardless of where I'm at. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. And another day. Anyways, well, guys, thanks for tuning in. And we are excited for all of you new followers and new listeners for you guys to join the Stay Strong, Stay You podcast and community. So thank you guys for all of your love and support. Continue to be the resilient warriors that you are within this game of life. But no matter what, stay strong, stay you, because you got this.
Peace.